Are you looking for the best DSLR cameras? In this video we will look at some of the 6 best DSLR cameras on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description. So make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Number 1, Nikon D780. Short of looking at professional models like the Nikon D850, you won't find a better full-frame DSLR than the Nikon D780. It has all the features you'd want in a high-end photography camera and then some. For one thing, it's designed to put up with extensive use, with a sturdy, weather-sealed body and an incredibly long battery life to last through long shooting days. Plus, its backside illuminated sensor is still one of the best we've tested, with remarkable noise handling for cleaner images in low light. The camera's hybrid autofocus system also stands out. It uses the same on-sensor phase detection of in-live view as the mirrorless Nikon Z6. Making this one of the best DSLR cameras for video and photo shooters. While the D780 is the best DSLR camera we've tested, the Canon EOS 5D Mark IV deserves a shout-out. Although it's showing its age, lacking the more sophisticated autofocus of the Nikon, this high-end DSLR is still popular among professional photographers and hobbyists. You'll get fantastic image quality out of it, and it's built like a tank to withstand pro-level use. However, the D780's lower price tag and more effective autofocus make it a better all-around pick. Number 2, Canon EOS 6D Mark. If the Nikon D780 is out of your price range, the Canon EOS 6D Mark II is a great full-frame option at a lower price point. It isn't quite as tank-like as the Nikon or the Canon EOS 5D Mark IV, which sits above it in Canon's lineup. However, it's still well built, weather-sealed, and has plenty of physical controls that make adjusting settings on the fly easy. While the D780's newer, backside illuminated sensor gives it an advantage in areas like noise control and dynamic range, you'll still get amazing photos out of the 6D too, and it has a solid autofocus system to boot. The biggest trade-off here is that it can't shoot 4K video. You also lose out on a secondary SD card slot and headphone jack. Ultimately, it's primarily a photography camera, whereas a higher-end model like the Nikon offers better video capability for hybrid shooters. If you can live without 4K video, however, this is still an excellent camera for the price. Number 3, Canon EOS 90D. Stepping down to an enthusiast-level crop sensor model like the Canon EOS 90D is a good way to save even more money without sacrificing high-end features. It has a high-resolution APS-C sensor that can capture stunning images and detail, along with a very good autofocus system. It's newer than that of the Canon EOS 6D Mark II. So it supports both face and eye detection for more precise focusing. It can also record 4K video if that's a must-have for you. Like most Canon DSLRs, it has a highly intuitive user interface and controls, making it easy for experienced and novice users alike. Plus, it's well built, with a weather-sealed body and top display to easily keep an eye on your settings, and of course, battery life is excellent. Overall, you'll get plenty of high-end features with this camera, especially if you don't need a full-frame sensor. 3. Number 4, Canon EOS Rebel T8i. While the Canon EOS 90D delivers enthusiast-level features at a more reasonable price than a full-frame camera, an entry-level model like the Canon EOS Rebel T8i will cost you even less while offering plenty for beginners and intermediate photographers. It doesn't have as many bells and whistles, like a top display or weather sealing, and has fewer physical controls. However, you still get a great APS-C sensor that can capture high-quality images. Plus, the camera uses the same lens mount as the higher-end Canons above, giving you plenty of lens options to choose from. The Rebel T8i also has 4K video capability, an excellent autofocus system, and a very good battery life. The Nikon D5600 is also worth considering in this price range, especially if you need something more portable. However, it isn't as well-rounded, with no 4K video capability and a less reliable autofocus system. Overall, the T8i is one of the most full-featured beginner DSLRs around, and it's a great option for those who want a camera that falls in the sweet spot between budget and higher-end models. Number 5. Canon EOS Rebel SL3. The Canon EOS Rebel SL3 is one of the best budget DSLRs you can get and one of the most portable. With a relatively small and lightweight design, it's easy to take on the go. Its simple control layout is accessible to newcomers, and it has a fully articulated touchscreen to help you shoot at different angles. It also uses the same APS-C sensor found in the Canon EOS Rebel T8i, so you'll get comparable image quality. The biggest trade-off here is a much more rudimentary autofocus system. Some people may also find the larger grip on the T8i more comfortable. If you're new to photography, the Nikon D3500 is another great budget option. Nikon's ultimate beginner camera is even more stripped down than the SL3, with a fixed screen and no 4K video capability. However, it has a unique guide shooting mode that teaches you the ropes as you shoot. If you've never used a dedicated camera before, it's an excellent starting point, but if you want a budget model with more features, the SL3 is the way to go. Number 6. Canon EOS Rebel T7, EOS 2000D. If you're on an even tighter budget and don't want to risk buying a used model, the Canon EOS Rebel T7, EOS 2000D is one of the best cheap options you can buy new. At this price point, build quality feels cheaper and more plasticky than pricier models, and you don't get anything fancy like weather sealing or even a tilting screen. However, underneath that modest exterior is a high-resolution APS-C sensor that's still very capable of capturing high-quality images. Since this is an older, cheaper model than the Canon EOS Rebel SL3 or the Canon EOS Rebel T8i, it doesn't perform as well in dynamic range and noise handling. However, it's still very good for the price, and it uses the same lens mount with plenty of lens options to choose from, meaning you can always upgrade to better lenses down the line for better results.